With harvest nearing completion and the year winding down, it's a good time to start thinking about what to do to help your next round of crops. Market Journal's Maddie McIntosh talked with self-described manure lady Amy Schmidt about why manure is a good fertilizer and things to keep in mind when using it.
Fertilizer is used by many producers to feed their crops and produce a quality yield. Manure is a fertilizer that's a bit more organic than the rest and can benefit crops while also giving nutrients to the soil and protecting the environment.
Most of the time, folks think that any manure application is probably too much, that there's more losses of manure nutrients to runoff and erosion. The reality is that if manure is applied, so it's put in the right place at the right time, at the right rate for the crops to use, and it's done with the correct procedures, then there's not any more risk of nutrient losses to the environment from manure than there are from commercial fertilizer. One of the benefits that manure provides that we don't get from commercial fertilizer, again, is the added benefits to the soil. So the improved aggregate stability and water holding capacity, and so those are reducing the opportunities for runoff and erosion.
While manure may be the best option for your operation, there are a few different things to consider before applying.
So if we're applying a liquid, a slurry or a liquid fertilizer to the surface, we need to account for the water infiltration rate of the soil and match our rate to that. The other would be to think about the concentration of nutrients in the soil already, the crop that's being grown, and how much nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium that crop is going to utilize, and then the nutrient content of the manure. So it needs to be balanced such that we're not putting on more nitrogen or phosphorus than the crop needs, or that the soil can hold on to and have for the crops to utilize. Anything that could contribute to runoff to surface water bodies. So if we have a water body close to the field, we're probably going to have a lower application rate. Steep slope, we're going to reduce our application rate a bit. So just those physical properties of the site itself.
A pre-planting application is recommended, but it's not always possible. Weather and outdoor conditions can affect application in a multitude of ways.
This time of year, as crops are coming out, as soon as those crops have been harvested, the manure is usually going in, as long as the soil is cooled down to around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and we want to see it on a trend of continuing to cool down. When it's warmer, those temperatures are more likely to carry that odor away from the site. We definitely want to avoid applying manure if there's rainfall predicted in the next 24 hours. After about 24 hours, we find that the manure is pretty stable, and we're not going to see runoff losses like we would within that first 24 hours. I think having a weather forecast in front of you that shows the wind temperature, the wind speed, direction, and precipitation that's predicted, those are some pretty good tools to have at your disposal to try and kind of identify the right site and the right time of day for that application to take place.
And while it's not required, letting those around you know when you're applying manure is the neighborly thing to do.
There's no denying that there's an odor from manure, whether, regardless of the kind of manure it is. I think it's ideal to have a good relationship with your neighbors where you can let them know when you're getting ready to apply manure, make sure that they don't have an event plan that's going to interrupt. It's hard to say that everyone will be happy with manure application because it's kind of a sensitive issue, but I think it's best to try to have some open communication with your neighbors and at least show that you have concern about their well-being and their comfort, and try to avoid sending odors in that direction if you can.
Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Maddie McIntosh.